Frosty. And Jacob is going to be talking to you about the Jason Rich Foundation and maybe a few other things.
A few other things as well. So welcome down, boys. Thanks for having me and giving me your time today. Hands up first, who has heard of the Jason Rich Foundation? Okay, so like one or two that haven't. Okay, cool. Is everyone reasonably familiar with the story? Kind of, maybe, but not too many details, I'm guessing, because they're probably about a few years ago now. So I'm going to basically spend our time today, A, explaining who Jason Rich was and telling you a bit about his story, and B, what we've done since then, and then C, what you can do to keep that going. Is that cool? Okay. So we've got Ben and Braden, my two assistants, are going to jump up here. Is that right? Did I get the names right? Yes. Yep, so we're sitting down. So, Ben, yeah? Yep. Ben is me, so Ben's Jake for the rest of the next 10 minutes, okay? And Braden is going to be Jason, okay? So if I mention those names, that's what I'm talking about. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So basically, boys, 6 years ago, I was sitting there where you are today, and every time we have one of these meetings, I'd sit next to the same bloke every time. Do any of you guys do that? You guys sit next to the same people? Yeah. Don't like each other that much? So I used to always sit next to my mate Jason, okay? He grew up across the road from me, we went to primary school together, basically we did everything together. So that's what these boys are representing today, okay? Now, hands up if you can tell me what happened to Jason. Yep.
Was it a car accident?
Yeah, cool, he was in a car accident. Everyone aware of that? Does no one want to put their hand up? Yeah. Okay, so basically he was in a single vehicle car accident, and he obviously passed away, and the whole point of what we're doing here from today and moving forward is because it was preventable, okay? So essentially it was a wet day and he's lost control because he didn't have the skills or the knowledge to drive to the conditions, okay? Does everyone does that make sense? Yeah. So what we're all about is teaching you blokes how to basically teach you the skills and also to change the mindset about driving and getting behind the wheel so that doesn't happen to you. Okay? Hands up if you'd like to avoid that happening to one of your mates or yourself. Okay? So every time we had an event or whatever we're sitting at, whatever it was, we sit together. He'd be the guy that was always talking, that Mr. Power or the teacher at the front would always have to tell them to be quiet, okay? And I was kind of the one telling them to be quiet and shut up and get me into trouble. It was a bit of a, I guess we used to call it a square. Is that still what you call it? What would you call it now? What? Nerd? It wasn't a nerd, come on. Some credit. Right? But yeah, basically that's how it went, okay? Now, just after his 21st birthday, he had his accident, which was a couple of years ago now, coming up to 2.5 years. Okay, so since then we started this thing called the Jason Rich Foundation. Hands up if you've been through one of the driving courses. I think we had one a few weeks ago. Actually, I know we had one a few weeks ago. Cool, hands down. Alright, so that's awesome. So basically by the end of this year, we want every one of you guys to go through a course. Okay, all we need is your L's or your P's, and 99% of you should have those at some stage. Okay, so essentially, our mission is to stop these preventable accidents happening again, okay? And we're going to use this little story to help let that sink in a little bit, alright? So pretty simple, Jason is no longer with us, so Braden, you're going to go and just sit down there for the rest of the time, okay? Because Jake's on his own now, alright? So pretty simple now, we've got an empty chair. What I want you to do is just have a think about how this could possibly affect you or your family. So I'm going to get you to close your eyes now, everybody. Okay, now think of your best mate. Has everyone got that? Nod your head if you've got it. Thinking of your best mate. Now I want you to think of his mum, okay, who's just got the news. Alright, you're going to spend 20 seconds or so thinking about that. Okay, just open your eyes. Hands up, how does his mum feel? Just sing out. Heartbroken? Sad? What else? Yep. Okay, close your eyes again. Cool. Close your eyes. Cool. Now how do you feel? Keep your eyes closed. Who wants to sing out? No? Alright, cool. Open your eyes. So, who would like to avoid that? Put your hand up. Alright, cool. So, put your hand up if you have done the course already. Okay, put your hand up now if you want to get the course done by the end of the year. Okay? Pretty well everyone's hands up in the air. So essentially boys, that's our mission. We want every one of you going through this defensive driving course because we know the impact it can have. Alright? Make sense? Pretty simple. Okay? Has anyone, got a good reason why they can't do it? So normally it costs you about $200, but we're actually going to pay for it for you. Does that sound like a good deal? Yeah. So if there's some reason why you can't get to a course between now and the end of the year, what I want you to do is put your name down on a little list, and Mr. Powell will look after that after the session, and I can have a chat to you about how we can make it happen. But essentially what we'll be doing throughout the rest of this year is coming through you guys, and we'll come to you with dates. Okay, so we'll have a list of dates. And Mr. Power is really good with the organising of it, so he would basically get your names down for each day. So when he comes around talking about the Jason Rich Foundation and the Defensive Driving course, that's what he's on about, okay? Now, is there anything more important that you could do on a Saturday than trying to stop your mum and dad going through what Jason's mum or dad have been through? Has anyone got anything? So do you reckon it'd be worth giving up a day of your weekend? Yeah? Yeah, cool. What if you had to make a sacrifice? What if you normally had work on a Saturday? What do you reckon is more important? Hands up if you reckon work's more important. That's good. Alright, so what you've just told me then is that work's not an excuse, is that correct? Yeah, so if you had the choice between work and doing this course, the course is more important. What if you had a game of footy on? Hands up if you reckon footy is more important. Okay. What would you tell your mum? Well, what would your mate have to tell your mum? What do you reckon is more important now, eh? Yeah? So it's probably, not something to laugh about, but, I understand that, all these things seem really important right now, but I want you to take a bit of a bigger picture look. Does that make sense? Because I can tell you, it's not worth going through, okay, from a personal point of view. So, a couple of things I want you to get out of today. A is the importance of a defensive driving course so that you can keep yourself safe, but also your mates safe on the road. Does everyone agree that we've probably covered up on that? Hands up if you think it's well worth the effort. Alright, it's free, it's a pretty good deal. Okay? B is that I also want you to take a message out of today is that no matter what happens in your everyday life, that you have the opportunity to change the way you view it. Okay? So what I mean by that is when Jason passed away, we've got two things or two ways that we can move forward and move on from that. What would be the first one, do you think? Which might not be very positive. Could we just let it get to us and let it eat away at us and keep us down forever? Or for a long, long time? Could you see that happening possibly? So when when we got the news, obviously it's really sad and all the rest of it, and it's going to take a while to get over, but there comes a point in time where we get to decide, and that's a great thing, what we want to do about it. Does that make sense? Alright, so what's the second way that we can approach the situation? Yeah, we can move on and make it a positive thing, okay? So what we've done, just as an example, by creating this foundation, we've been able to, so far, raise close to 100 grand, and by the end of this year, we'll be well over that. And so far, we've put through over 200 kids to a full day of defensive driving, okay? So we've used this, what most people would view as a negative situation, and turned it into something positive that we can quite literally save lives with and change the world. Does that make sense? Okay? So just have a think about, something. I want you to do this literally right now. We're going to have a think about something that you could possibly view as negative, and then how we can spin it around and become a bit positive. Okay? Does that make sense? So have a think about something. Has anyone missed out on a footy team that they wanted to make? Yeah? What team was it? The first? Yeah? So what are the two ways you can view that situation? Next year. Yeah, cool. So I mean, two ways. First way would be you could get really down and say, oh, this footy thing, I've worked so hard all summer and I didn't make the team that I wanted to make. Stuff it, you know, I hate footy now. Or what's the second way? Just because you don't make the first in the first week doesn't mean you can't make it the second week or the third week or the fourth week. Okay, if you worked your ass off, get in the gym, nice and strong, got fitter, all the rest of it, you can potentially still make it. Does that make sense? You can use that as a learning curve. What's something else? Who's got one? We all got Monday morning still waking up. Yeah. So who's ever been dumped? Hands up, hands up. So do you reckon? Do you reckon if we can turn our best mate dying into a positive situation, we can turn our getting dumped by a girl into a positive situation? Yeah? Do you reckon, you know, two ways to view it that? One is it could be the worst thing ever, or two is open up a door for something even better. Does that make sense? Yeah? So you get an even hotter chick, you know? Yeah, cool. So essentially, boys, that's where we're going to leave it today. The two things, you know, this course is very important and we wouldn't be here doing it and I wouldn't have come 800 Ks to talk to you today if I didn't think it was important. And two is that you've got the opportunity to do whatever you want in life and every situation you have a choice to make how you want to deal with it. Okay, so no situation is good or bad, it's just how we perceive it and what we choose to do with it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. Alright, well thanks for having me and listening, you've been awesome. And you can sit down now, Ben. Is that right? Yeah. Next time we're going to get two people with completely different names, it'll make it much easier. But thanks for your time, boys, and stay safe. Mr. Power will be able to tell you as well. Out of just about every grade that's ever graduated in the next couple of years afterwards, there's normally one or two of us aren't around anymore. So let's make sure that you boys don't follow that trend. Is everyone cool with that? Yeah. So have a good person next year. If you want him to be around as well in a few years' time, then make sure he gets that. Alright? Thanks, boys.